I'm ready.
I am too.
Good.
Let's drink some wine. Hi, everybody. My name is Brian Hinchberger.
And I'm Paul Hinchberger.
We are the Wine Brothers.
And the Plaid Brothers, apparently, today.
I wore this first. He wore that second.
That's my shirt, also, so...
He's a plaid guy. Anyways, so, Bon Vivant Imports, that's who I work for, and who we bring in wines from Spain. We bring in wines from Italy. Today we're going to taste some really, really cool wines from Spain. From the Yecla region. Have you heard of Yecla? Have you heard of Jumilla?
Yes, definitely.
So, Yecla literally is connected to Jumilla, just right to the east.
Mm-hmm.
This sits within the Murcia region. So we're talking southeastern Spain, kind of right along that Mediterranean, inland a little bit. And so, the climate here is pretty intense. I mean, it's got kind of this Mediterranean climate, but it has these two distinct factors. One being the Mediterranean Sea itself. Two is the massive La Mancha Plateau. And so the weather patterns are super, super hot, and then with occasional and not surprising torrential downpours. So the climate is one that is definitely pretty interesting and leads to some really intense, big red wines. Monastrell is the primary grape. Paul, Monastrell history, what do you got?
Well, it's the same varietal as Mourvèdre, from France, and...
but where's it originally from?
From Spain.
Right here, folks, coming at you live from Yecla and Jumilla with Monastrell. So Mourvèdre spread across the whole world. It all came from right here.
All from Spain.
I want you all to know that. This is big. This is real big. So let's start tasting on these. We've got a Joven and we have a Roble. This Joven is, has seen no oak. Very, very kind of just fresh. Sees about 9 months in bottle before it gets released. Now this is 60% Monastrell. Then they blend with 20% Merlot and 20% Syrah. I keep saying Syrah when I talk like a Syrah. So this is probably super fresh. As you're diving into that, I want to kind of talk about the climate a little bit more. So it's so hot that literally, Marcial Martinez Cruz is the winemaker here. And, one generation up actually lived in these cool little caves. So the hills that go all around, in fact, here where they're at, they're called the Valle de Salinas. It's because they're in the valley of the Salinas Mountains, Sierra de Salinas. And in those hills, literally, they used to carve them out. They used to carve out their homes. Kind of like the adobe huts that I want to do, only in a mountainside. So you walk in, and it's carved out, and there's a family room, a living room, the kitchen. They only did this, like, last generation. So it's, kind of just old school way of, Spanish living. And in those type of houses, it keeps you much cooler because the daytimes are just blistering hot. Blistering. So, Paul, what are you getting on this Joven?
Hard to describe. I would say it's very floral, but no flower that I've ever smelt. And it's very fruity, but no fruit that I've ever tasted. It's the mysterious fruity floralness of Spain.
Well, that was pretty poetic. It's the flower that has never been smelt. The fruit that has never been tasted.
Mm-hmm.
I can do
really.
It is floral. Like it's almost this cross between violets, fresh violets, and
I would say violets is roses for sure.
Roses on steroids. Like it's just it is right there in your nose, pretty intense, but bright and fresh.
Mm-hmm.
And the fruit though, I've got to say, I'm pulling out definitely like beautiful ripe strawberries, kind of boysenberries, blackberries.
Yeah.
Oh, it's super fresh. How's the palate?
Wow, still very fresh. I love the really fresh fruit. Has that brambly thing, and when I say brambly, I've said that in several other videos. I mean, you almost taste like the vine or the twig of of a blackberry bush or something.
Snap off a twig
with the berry.
Rip it down.
It has that like woody characteristic.
Yeah, definitely. So, something they're very proud of down there is terroir. We've heard of this word terroir. However, we're not going to call it terroir. We're going to call it terruño, because that's what they call it. The earth is truly unique. It's these sun-scorched land, and there's clay, there's lime, there's rock, total rock. So the layers go so deep, and these vines literally have to stretch for forever to get any sort of nutrients.
Sometimes they go down 40, 50 feet.
40, 50 feet,
into
just
the ground
just
to get to
one plant going straight down.
crazy.
What's cool about these the fruit here are from like 100-year-old vines. Everything is organically farmed, and they're 100-year-old Monastrell vines, which is pretty sweet. Jumilla obviously is a little bit more popular than Yecla, but they're truly almost one and the same. They are so close. They do the same structure. They have a couple different D.O regulations, but truly delicious. And I think that the Syrah and the Merlot in this really kind of does fatten it out, plush it out a little bit. It's not, but the grip, the tannin of that Monastrell is nice. It's there.
It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
To the next one, he says.
Yep. Perfect translation. So this is Valle de Salinas Roble. The Roble essentially is seen about 3 months in oak. So it's still pretty young, still pretty fresh. The difference between these here is instead of the 20% of Merlot, we have 20% of Tempranillo, the classic red varietal of Spain. So we have these super old 100-year-old vine, Monastrell, a little bit of Syrah, a little bit of Tempranillo. Paul, what are you getting on that nose?
Fresh cherry, sprinkled with fresh green peppercorn. I've been on a peppercorn kick.
Yes. Cherries and pepper.
Yeah,
I dig
it's
it.
fresh again. It's
You know what's-
both of them are very fresh. This one's definitely a little more complex, a little more
Yeah.
interesting, I guess. But that's not the right word. That's good. Both of them are good.
So I definitely am digging on the cherries, and what's neat is like right now we're sitting in mid-June here in the Northwest. Cherry season is upon us,
Oh yeah.
and I mean you all know what tasting a fresh cherry is compared to a candied cherry or a chocolate cherry. A fresh cherry, it's so much more mellow than you ever think it would be. You want it explodes like a strawberry or something, but a cherry has this mellow elegance of life. This tastes like cherry.
This is cherry in all its glory.
Cherry in all of its glory. So this is $14 on a shelf. Killer value. This 11. Hovens 11. Roble is 14. Really, really great price points. Organically farmed. Monastrell. Couple other varietals from Yecla. If you haven't found that Yecla is awesome, it's awesome.
I could drink these all day long.
I'm going to.
They're wonderful.
We're going to keep drinking them because that's what we do.
That's what
We drink
do.
all day long. A lot of wine.
No,
So
we don't.
so these wines definitely pair well with foods. One more little interesting side note of this area, Jumilla and Yecla, is that the phylloxera, horrible thing that kills all vines. Phylloxera never hit these guys. When Spain went through it in the late 1800s, it didn't happen over here. Happened in the 80s though, like 20 years ago. Happened. So like 60% plus of all vines were lost.
Wow.
These, obviously, pre-phylloxera, which is kind of funny because pre-phylloxera is not that old, but these are 100-year-old vines that have been hanging and strong, and they have so much depth, so much complexity. If you see Jumilla, if you see Yecla, if you see Monastrell, if you see Mourvèdre, check it out. These are beautiful wines. A lot of grip, a lot of flavor, a lot of fruit, a lot of flour, a lot of love. Thanks
For
everybody.
joining us.
Cheers.